Liza Hausman. I'm the Vice President of Industry Marketing here at Houzz, and I do a lot of thought leadership research and presentations. I have been presenting recently at the Home Improvement Research Institute, at Harvard's Joint Center for Housing Studies, as well as to different remodeling and design groups around the country. And this is kind of a combination of research that I've been presenting lately that's been very well received in the community. So I'm excited to share it with you here today. And it's called Revolution or Evolution, the 4 Mega Consumer Behavior Trends Driving Home Improvement. So a little bit of fun at the beginning. If you guys, let me launch this poll. But please vote if you would prefer your life to either A, change significantly from where it is today, or if you'd prefer to have things go back to how they were before COVID. If you could vote. On your right-hand side, you should see a poll, but what would your preference be? Have things change significantly from today or go back to how things were before COVID? I am going to close the poll in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. So we had most people, 76% said they would prefer things to change significantly from today. And that's exactly what a very large piece of research from Ipsos and the World Economic Forum found when they surveyed 21,000 adults across 27 countries, that really people don't want things to go back to how they were before COVID. And so there are a lot of questions around, okay, so what does that mean about this post-COVID consumer, and what do we know about them? So I'm going to cover four mega trends. We know people want a more sustainable, equitable world. They want to live in a better place, not go back to where we were before COVID, but we're not quite there. So the 4 ways that consumer behavior is changing that will have both short and long-term implications for our industry are changing demographics, the pursuit of experiences, anxiety antidotes, and selective splurging. And we'll have kind of a surprise 5th at the end as well. So let's dive into these. In terms of changing demographics, in the US, 38% of adults 25 to 54 were neither married nor living with a partner in 2019. That's a significant jump from 1990 when the rate was 29%. The US Census found that 1 of 6 people aged 55 plus is childless. And another factor in the new family dynamic are aging LGBTQ communities that lack family support. One professor at the University of Washington found that there are approximately 2.7 million adults ages 50 plus that self-identify as LGBT in the US, and that's expected to exceed 5 million by 2060. According to Sage USA, those seniors are 2 times as likely to be single and living alone, 4 times less likely to have children. And so as people come to rely on their peers for support in later life, the products and services that we as a community provide in terms of homes and atmosphere will need to reflect these new family values. There's also sort of the boomerang and reverse boomerang effect. The number of people who live in multi-generational homes has risen steadily since 1971. 1971 is kind of a key year when the ideal of a nuclear family, this idea of the husband and wife and 2 kids, was beginning to give way to the postmodern era. Back in 1971, fewer than 10% of people lived in multi-generational housing. Today, that number stands at 18%. And I think the really striking number is that in 2034, there'll be more people over the age of 65 than under 18. And that's pretty significant. We're aging and our demographics are starting to look very much more like Japan and not like they looked in the boomer years. Now, although declining fertility plays a role, the driving force behind America's aging are the baby boomers. As one of the largest generations in the country, boomers leave a substantial imprint on the population. 10,000 boomers turn 65 every single day. And Pew defines multi-generational living as having at least 2 generations of adults under one roof. Now, some parents aren't waiting for retirement or urgent healthcare needs to move in with adult children, the data suggests. Known as the reverse boomerang effect, the move is often driven by changing attitudes about family life, high housing costs, and challenges in finding affordable childcare. Now, one of the biggest issues we're facing is that from a housing perspective, we're really not ready to handle this aging population, and we're not ready to get old. Only 10% of housing in the US is aging ready. And so our housing stock is really at odds with these demographic shifts. Most housing in the US was not built with older residents in mind. Since World War II, residential development really has revolved around car culture, encouraging sprawl, low-density living, and dominated by single-family homes. While suburbia may be great for raising children, it tends not to be a great fit for seniors, especially as driving becomes difficult or impossible. Now, older Americans are also particularly vulnerable to isolation and loneliness, and the houses themselves are a problem as well, right? A young family's dream home doesn't necessarily make sense for people in their 70s, 80s, or beyond. Big yards, stairs, narrow doorways, high cabinets, and even doorknobs become a challenge as we age. And that's, something that we all are going to face and start to see in terms of changing housing demands. Now, we are seeing increases in demand for ADUs. They're seen by many experts on aging as a tool with high potential for addressing the critical shortage of housing for older Americans. AARP has begun aggressively promoting the spread of them. And again, with our population growing steadily older and with the ongoing shift away from institutional care toward aging in place, the demand for senior-friendly housing really is set to rise for years to come. Now, some of the data I'm going to share here and what you see on the screen currently is from Houzz specifically. We actually looked at year-over-year searches for these terms on Houzz and what the change was. And we actually see that the number of searches for ADU garage conversion were up nearly more than 2,000%. For ADU over garage, more than 200%. And for garage with apartment, up 52%. Similarly, we see increases in search data for accessibility terms. Aging in place bathroom up 141%, handicap accessible bathrooms up 137%, ADA compliant bathroom vanities up 43%. So we really see in our own search data a significant increase in demand for aging in place updates. Now, kind of on the fun side is the long-term movement. Luxury pet products are growth there, and the growth in the searches we see are most likely related to the fact that fewer people are having children, often opting for fur babies instead. So here we see just in the last year, more than 800% increase in laundry room with dog wash, 282% increase in dog-friendly landscaping, catio up 15%. That was a new one for me as a dog person. So really these dramatically changing demographics are our first trend, and I think probably the biggest and longest term trend. So let's take a look at our second trend, the pursuit of experiences. This is an important trend because experiences are now our industry's biggest competition for share of wallet, right? What are people spending their money on if they're not spending it on home? When asked what would bring them joy in the future, a poll of 55% of consumers said that travel and taking vacations would bring them joy. That ranked second behind spending time with family. Gen X and baby boomers also ranked travel within their top 3 priority purchases when on a budget, suggesting there's other cutbacks they'd rather make instead. Now, hopefully most of you have heard about the Beyonce and Taylor Swift phenomenon from this summer. In July, the Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia announced that Taylor Swift's tour helped boost travel and tourism in the region, a claim also made by several other U.S. cities. The average attendee at these concerts spends more than $1,300. Vegas tourism credited Taylor's concerts with boosting visitor numbers to nearly pre-pandemic levels. And Forbes reported that Beyonce's Renaissance tour could gross $2 billion, while Swift's Eras tour could gross $1.6 billion. Yelp actually coined the Beyonce bump for the economic halo created by the pop star's Renaissance tour. So people really want to get out and have these in-person experiences. We're also seeing changes reflected in spend data and in the numbers. This is showing real year-over-year change in credit card spending. You can see home goods on the right and the decline versus out-of-home entertainment as the number 2 growth area. And we're really seeing that people are no longer pandemic nesting, that lovely bump that we had during the pandemic and just after. And we see that higher income consumers are spending 8% less than they were the year before on items for their homes. Harvard Joint Center for Housing Studies notes that the main drivers are high interest rates, softening house price appreciation, and sluggish home sales. We also see that spend on services is steadily climbing while goods has flattened off. So again, people are looking to do things and have experiences. Now, that doesn't mean that there isn't opportunity for our industry. A lot of it is being smart and being smart about how we're marketing ourselves. Now, how do we compete for these dollars? And it's really by making the home a key place to socialize and play. So we had some great search data on Houzz. We saw a 1,900% increase for basement golf simulators, 791% increase for basement family room, over 500% for basement rec room, over 100% for basement movie theater, and 52% for basement kitchenette. So people still are looking to have their homes be that place to have experiences. Spending time family was still the number 1 thing that brings people joy. So there's really an opportunity for you as professionals to have these conversations with potential clients, either to get them to pull the trigger on a project or to invest more in their project and to capture those dollars by helping them understand how they might be able to have those wonderful experiences and social experiences in their own homes. We're also seeing that people are looking for kitchen amenities that help them host gatherings. We saw walk-in kitchen pantry up more than 2,500%, a large kitchen island with seating up 187%. We see island ranges up 32%. So again, the is a huge opportunity at home. But interestingly, it's not all about fun and games, although that is significant. So let's talk a little bit about what people are looking for in terms of anxiety antidotes. You know, as a nation, we're seeking experiences, but we're also seeking ways to address the high level of stress and anxiety that we experience today. Now, as of 2023, 12.7% of full-time employees were working 100% from home. About 28% work a hybrid model, part-time at home, part-time at the office. Now, it turns out, and this was a piece of data an economist shared at one of the research conferences that I attended, turns out this trend of working from home is actually making our lack of homes to support aging even worse. More people are willing to commute further to work since they're only going in a few times a week. And as a result, more homes are being built even further from urban centers. So an interesting trend that as people are willing to drive further for work, we're seeing even more home construction happening far away from our urban centers, which is exacerbating the type of housing that we really need for aging in place. Now, quick question, and you guys can just answer this yourselves, but what percent do you think of people are able to multitask effectively? And I'll let you guys answer that in your heads. See what you think. So the answer is actually 3%. It turns out that when we think we're multitasking, we're actually performing individual actions in rapid succession. Multitasking is really a myth. And what researchers have found is that rapid technological change that affects our daily life always induces a sense of anxiety. And they've named it future shock. It can be disruption to routines, isolation from loved ones, lack of division between home and work life. All of these have given rise to chronic multitasking, particularly for those who are working remotely. And a neuroscientist at Stanford has proven that attempts to multitask can actually create interference among our neural networks and can actually lead to slower processing as well as mistakes. And this creates a chronic circle of stress. And finally, a 2021 Microsoft study found that people multitask more frequently in larger and longer video meetings and in recurring meetings rather than ad hoc ones. And I'll confess, I'm guilty of that as well. So as a result, we're really seeing that people are finding a sense of sensory overload, and as a result, they're looking for more sensory regulation. There's become a culture, like a cope culture, where people are more seeking more opportunities for self-care, and there's certainly a lot of momentum towards self-care. The meditation apps space, if you guys have seen those on your phones, is really a huge growth market. Revenue is expected to show an annual growth rate of 7% and is expected to get to be a $1.2 billion market by 2027. And we're seeing this in our own search data on Houzz. People are looking for ways to create anxiety antidotes, calm places within their own homes. Home gym with sauna searches are up over 800%. Bathroom with sauna up nearly 400%. Infinity pool up 12%. Zen bedroom up 39%. Spa-like bathroom up 31%. Again, people are looking to create those calm experiences at home. We also see that experts say spending time in natural environments is one of the best antidotes for anxiety. We did see a lot of people during the pandemic, of course, create outdoor spaces because that was where they could socialize. But we continue to see people investing in outdoor spaces, outdoor rooftop terrace searches up more than 1,500%, rooftop decks 90%, and rooftop patios up 40%. And inducing a sense of calm really extends to every surface of the home. In terms of thinking about all the places that your eye may fall, it searches for high gloss ceiling up more than 800%, tongue and groove ceiling up 74%, even black ceiling up 19%. So trying to get a calm place to sleep. Now, during the pandemic, we saw a slight dip in people opening up their kitchens, but that number has returned to pre-pandemic levels. Instead, people are choosing less permanent solutions like these to separate their spaces. We're seeing an increase in searches for living room dividers, shoji screens, and partition walls. And for some, reducing anxiety comes with a yearning to go back in time to surround ourselves with traditional design elements. We see really a historical style revival increase in our searches. Spanish colonial living room up nearly 1,500%. Spanish colonial kitchen up 200%. And again, people looking for more charm and more warm spaces to spend time with family. So given all this, let's talk a little bit about how consumers are thinking about spending their dollars. And the number one trend is that consumers are trading down. They're looking for savings and they're selectively splurging. I'm not sure if you guys are seeing this in your own customers, but I hear this every time I speak with pros. Even though consumers are still spending, they're seeking value. 80% of respondents to a McKinsey survey last year said they're changing their shopping behavior by trading down, and that's compared with 74% of respondents in the previous year. Now, mentions of trading down and trading down on U.S. retail and consumer companies' analyst calls and investor presentations are now running above the previous peak they hit in the global financial crisis of 2009, according to data provider Sentio. So, major companies are seeing this and hearing this from their customer base. Now, the generations with the most money to spend, boomers, are also less likely to splurge. So the chart shows by income level and by generation who's most likely to splurge. Younger generations more likely to splurge than the older generations, but of course, those boomers are the ones that have the most money to spend, and certainly on their homes. Now, with interest rates so high, Americans are also far less inclined to tap into their home equity via cash-out refinancing or home equity loans. Why does this matter? Well, for homeowners, this means putting off kitchen renovations and other home improvements. On the macro level, it's holding back hundreds of billions in consumer spending. Now, while price is important, given this cost consciousness that we're seeing in the general public, it's not always the wisest move to lower prices, particularly for luxury brands and premium clients, right? Decreasing prices can potentially reduce the aspirational power of a purchase and even reduce trust. Research shows quality is the top purchase driver overall. So think about, honing your message around quality, longevity of the choices and the recommendations that you're making to your clients, since your customers and consumers in general are really looking to make their money count these days. Now, what do we see on Houzz in terms of selective splurging for home? Often these are more scaled down choices. So we saw an increase in small screened-in porch ideas of more than 500%, small plunge pool up 375%, small pool house up 200%, small swimming pool up 46%. So again, these are often just, can I do a smaller version that I can still enjoy? Now, finally, I have to throw in a fifth trend, which are, high-tech expectations. The post-COVID consumer has high expectations for technology. The pandemic upended lives and livelihoods across the globe, forcing consumers and businesses to adopt new digital behaviors. Homebound consumers abandoned their previous shopping habits. They hurdled e-commerce into hyperdrive, right? They compressed a decade's worth of digital adoption into about 100 days. And technology has conditioned consumers to believe they can get what they want whenever they want within minutes. Now, we do see some of this in our own data. We ran a pretty in-depth survey of homeowners who had recently completed or were in the process of doing a home renovation or new home construction. And we got a lot of verbatims from our customers, and this is another presentation that we can share with you. But we really asked folks, what's the number one thing that would have improved your experience with your professional through the remodeling and design process? And one of the things that we heard quite a bit was if the contractors, the professionals I worked with were more technology savvy. So it's definitely something that they're aware of, and it's an expectation that they're bringing. Another piece of data that we found in this survey was, homeowners said that communication, pricing within their budget, and reliance on technology all played a role in both their hiring and their referral decisions. And so people are really looking for folks who can support and provide an experience using technology. So really, I think there's an opportunity here for industry, and these new challenges bring these new opportunities. So some of the questions I think our industry should be asking itself, and what you may want to be talking about with your teams, how can your sales strategy better support, evolving household demographics and living arrangements? Are you having conversations with your customers to ask about their long-term goal for their home, their plans for aging in place, whether they're planning to have family members, either older or younger, live with them in the future? Another question you may ask is, are you selling renovation in terms of experiences in and around the home? This really has been resonating when I speak to professionals around the country as an opportunity, especially as they're finding their sales cycles are longer. People are a little bit more reticent, and are you talking to them about, hey, the home is this place where you're going to be able to have not just your family experiences, but your entertainment experiences. How are you having those conversations, and potentially offering them some surprise and delight options that they would be willing to splurge for? Another question is, do you understand what new needs and activities your customers want in their home to support well-being? Again, are there opportunities to talk about how can they come home and decompress? Do they want a calming kitchen or bathroom? Do they want a living space living spaces that are able to support whether that's meditation or a workout, or even relaxation in a simpler way? Having those conversations explicitly is increasingly important. Also, are you clear on what value means to your customers as they continue to trade down? So really being that resource that can help them understand where they should spend more money and where they can potentially cut back. That's a great way to build trust and to position yourself as the firm of choice. On the flip side, are you ready to deliver where consumers want to splurge? So if you've got somebody that's excited about an idea, do you have really great deep pocket ideas where you can show them something that's really going to blow their minds and be able to capture those additional dollars? And finally, are you using technology to impress your prospects and provide the best possible customer experience? Certainly with Houzz Pro, it's a place where we're investing a lot of time and a lot of research to try to make sure that you're all armed with technology that can help you close more business, impress those prospects, but also provide a really great customer experience, give them that self-serve access to information that they desire, and make them really feel like you guys are on the cutting edge and able to support their needs. So with that, let me take a look and see what we've got happening in the Q&A. I hope folks will drop in their questions. Let me see what we've got coming in. So folks want to know, like, which trend is probably going to have the biggest impact? I think the trend that's going to have the biggest long-term impact will be that demographics, the fact that our population is aging and that we're going to have more people over 65 than under 18 in 2034. That's really the one that's going to have the longest term impact. Some of these others may be shorter term trends as the economy ebbs and flows. Let's see, we've got a question from Charles. Again, what's the best way to position this idea of sort of value versus splurging? Okay, I think it really depends on your personality and your selling style, but I think what I've heard is that making sure to have a structured conversation up front with potential customers about their priorities and actually asking about these explicitly. Don't expect that they're going to come and be able to talk about being able to relax in their home or be able to articulate that, or come in with the goal of having a golf simulator in the basement. You may want to put these things on the table more explicitly, but also try to understand what's less important to them and offer yourself up as a resource to help them shift budget. Let's see. Garth says, as single adults age and multi-generational households increase, are there any trend stats on unrelated single adults forming platonic households? That's interesting, Garth. I did not see a whole lot of data on that out there. I have seen some stories about more kind of multi-generational apartment complexes. And again, more data about ADUs, but I haven't seen a whole lot, and I'll keep an eye out for that. Certainly share it if we find it, about unrelated single adults forming platonic households. If anyone else has any info on that or has seen anything, feel free to drop it in the chat and we can share. Great. I'm so glad. Thank you for the nice comments. Appreciate you guys being here with me today. I'm glad you found it valuable, and thank you so much for your time. It was great to be here with you, and we will send this recording out shortly. So take care and have a great rest of your week.